I'm very glad to be here and to give this presentation. On behalf of the European Commission, I'll be talking about automated driving and with a focus on Europe. And this is going to be, for most of you, a 101 crash course, 20 minutes, very fast, browsing through activities in Europe. So bear with me, it's going to go fast. And hopefully, after that, you have plenty of questions. And we can also take these questions offline after. I'm very open to any discussions. This being said, Ertico ITS Europe is perhaps well known for you for the different ITS World Congress, the next one taking place in Tokyo, and then Detroit next year. Ertico is actually not only about congresses, so we have plenty of activities, and among them supporting the Commission in many aspects, for example, for vehicle and road automation. I'll go through the European transport sectors, which is quite similar to what is happening in the US. It's a huge, huge economic factor. It's 10% of the GDP of the European Union, 5% of the total employment in the European Union, but 10 million jobs in transportation sectors, and 30 billion euro investment in R&D by the industry. The European Commission has been contributing over the years for many smart mobility services, starting already in the 90s. And here you have a quite interesting set of these services: real-time traffic information, collection of the traffic and traveler data, digital maps, e-call, open in-vehicle platforms, electronic tolling. All these somehow have a span-off from activities funded by the European Commission throughout the years, the last decade, let's say. Of course, intelligent vehicle at the European Commission is very much under the radar. There are different aspects for intelligent vehicles. One aspect is cooperative ITS, advanced driver assistance systems, and also electromobility are clearly under the same package of intelligent vehicles. So I mentioned cooperative ITS. Not in the viewpoints of the European Commission, we don't see it only as a 5.9 DSRC only. It's a full package of telecommunication that enables many applications, not only about safety, but also looking at traffic efficiency and also environmentally friendly features. So. Most important is to keep the driver informed and also give good information from the infrastructure to the vehicle in a timely fashion. So if any one of you want to know the first steps or the first paper to read about policy in the European Commission is to read the White Paper 2011. It's called the Roadmap to a Single European Transport Area. It mainly focuses on the use of energy, the cleaner energy, also the multimodal aspects of transport, in the integration of the information, but also so at the end tends to look at reduction of emissions with targets at 2050 and intermediate milestones in 2020. Of course, last but not least, the zero fatalities concept has been introduced, spinning off from other concepts in Europe, such as the Swedish zero vision. And so 2050 is put as a target for zero fatalities. The middle term, or the, let's say, intermediate milestones there is halving the road casualties by 2020 as compared to 2011. So when we come to automated driving, there is increasingly the vision that this is the only long-term option. A high level of automation will clearly help putting the human error to a minimum. It does not only contribute to safety, it does contribute to energy efficiency and traffic flow aspects. And also it helps, I don't know if you have been in Europe, sometimes the traffic situation is very complex, and you might want then to have some kind of equipment that relieves you from these complex situations. That's interesting slides, very simple, basic elements of automation. It's interesting to see how the policy side sees the complex engineering, a complex engineering system. But anyway, so the sensors, the maps are contributing, the cooperative ITS, the positioning systems, all these have to be seen as a whole. And then eventually contributing on the actuation, steering, accelerating, braking by wire. This does not come out of the blue, and this has been there has been a lot of things done over the years. ESC, lane support, emergency braking, advanced driver assistance systems, more recently on platoon of vehicles. All these are building blocks for automated driving. So let's see what has been done then in terms of research and innovation and in the framework program of the European Commission. Over the years, here we only look at the framework program 6 and framework program 7 of the European Commission. Two calls in the framework program 6 were initiating, let's say, the building blocks for the intelligent vehicle and automated vehicles. The call 1 is dear to me, is actually the one of the first major project on advanced driver assistance systems. It was called PREVENT. And over the years, especially in the framework program 7, every year there was new projects and new call for proposals on these kind of systems, and gradually also focusing more on energy efficiency. So if we look at only the 7th framework program, there has been a very large amounts of funded projects. This is only the view of DG Connect, and so ICT for transport. And the building blocks here are for automation are the cooperative systems, the green mobility, and the contribution to safety. As a whole, ICT for transport represents a portfolio of 340 million euros funding, of which another budget is coming from the co-funded activities and different stakeholders. So are completed projects from the European Commission show that we are never starting from scratch. We see chauffeur, which was an FP4 project, so in the 90s, and then looking at all the aspects that now build up towards the Sartre project that you have heard last year. So there is clearly always a series and continuity in the activities, even though they tend to change names, and this is very confusing for people outside Europe, all these acronyms of projects. But you just have to ask, and then very rapidly you will see a thread of activities in Europe that is clearly showing trends and communities of research. Here, another one that is specified is the cyber car community, looking at really fully automated urban vehicles. We are going to have a presentation later on City Mobile 2, but all these City Mobile 2 activities are spinning off from activities in the early 2000s on fully automated vehicles. And so, oh, thank you very much. Another very important project, more from the tier 1 suppliers, is a HAVIT project. It was an integrated project, so relatively big, a budget of about 20 million euros. And looking at putting highly automated driving, but as well keeping always the driver in the loop, having very smart ways to interact with the driver and having good control strategy and handing over strategies with the driver, and looking at the complementarity of sensors and cooperative ITS. Also, not only looking at safety, but also environment. I think I've said that 3 or 4 times now. So there was different applications in the HAVIT project, looking at the architecture, safety and functional architecture, steer-by-wire, brake-by-wire. Also, how do we migrate current architectures towards the more automated architectures, and then the next applications were more on the real demonstration part, looking at safety and energy efficiency. When it comes to safety, the focus was on 2 parts of the spectrum of the driver task. One when we were in the demanding task, really taking highly automated driving to the roadworks and to the congestions, and very convincing way to interact with the driver. Monotonous driving was also another part of the spectrum of the load of the driver, looking at highways, long stretch of roads, typically what you would see in the US in the interstates. So I also wanted to mention the CityMobile activity. We will see more of the CityMobile 2 activities in the next session. CityMobile was a long and very demanding activity, about 4 and 4.5 years on large-scale demonstration of fully automated transport. And one example of this is the personal rapid transit system in Heathrow. If you go one day to the US, usually you land and end up in the Terminal 5, and there from the Terminal 5 you have this personal rapid transit system that is operating completely driverless. It is what we would call a lift, a horizontal lift. You press on the button and you get to your destination. There was activities in Rome. We wanted to have actually a full-scale demonstration, but it actually did not happen. But it's not about the technology. It was actually about all the policy issues around the demonstration. And we saw that at that time that technology is not the only thing, and policy really needs a good eye in order to get somewhere. Castellion was on dual mode automation, so where the driver could at one point just leave the driver's seat and let the vehicle drive alone. Interactive, might have heard of that one, is also a very important activity driven by the let's say the vehicle manufacturers. Industry. It was focusing on accident avoidance and active intervention, looking at high performance and integrated safety applications, investigating more thoroughly the sensor platforms, streamlining that sensor platform, looking at the decision strategies and active interventions, covering a large amount of different scenarios, and also looking at options for low cost. So beside these funded activities from the European Commission, we had a series of supporting activities led and driven by the European Commission. Among them, studies, so it's individual studies that are given to contractors. And one of them in 2010 was the 0064, and about defining the necessary vehicle and infrastructure systems for automated driving. It was led by TNO in the Netherlands, but also with 8 other external experts. And the full output of this study is available on the website and free for you to check. There was a few conclusions about the study that were interesting and led to the next steps, let's say. On the driver, focus on the driver, making sure that he understands this technology, he will accept it in the future, and then willingness to buy it so that we don't break the current market. We also looked at safety requirements and then how to rapidly be able to deploy this. We also said that there will clearly be new parties and new actors in this sphere, and we need to take this into account. And then, especially at European point of view, the role of the government will be very important, and infrastructure needs to be put in place. Then, following up from this activity in the study, we had an automation workshop in October 2011, from which a series of conclusions were put, and about definitions. They are actually not in the very good order, but definitions and terminology, investigating benefits of automation and how we can gain acceptance. Look at specific scenarios that are low-hanging fruits, like dedicated lanes. Driver behavior, legal aspects, logistics, so more looking at how automation can contribute to logistics eventually, making sure that standardization is covered. Another low-hanging application is the platooning, making sure that from standardization we have a good verification and certification methodology, and then always taking into account these HMI issues. And from this activity, there was a working group that emerged. It's called the Automation Working Group in Road Transport from the iMobility Forum. And this Automation Working Group kicked off in 2012, met a series of times, and prepared a roadmap for the enhanced automation of road transport. The results were shown in 2013, so March 2013. The actual report is still under review, but really at its final stage, so it should be published on the European Commission website in a few weeks. I mentioned standards. There was a study on standards for automation, and actually that could help the SAE, the discussions that we had at the beginning of the week on for SAE. Here there is a list of the different standards that have been identified contributing to the standardization in automation for road vehicles. But actually, we ended up with conclusions that no standards really are available for fully automated vehicles. Only partial automation has been standardized, especially in TC204 Working Group 14, looking at the very basics like ABS, ESC, adaptive cruise control, forward collision warning. All these have already been standardized and should be followed somehow by the community. At the same time, we saw that many automated, or some automated, here is written, systems are being studied, being tested, deployed, and being deployed. So we really end up with a very large dynamic and momentum, but without really work being done seriously from the international standardization community, and we might end up with some serious problems eventually once these vehicles will have to be interoperable. So there is a high interest for global standards by the international stakeholders. This should not be a national activity, and we should really synchronize efforts avoiding work duplication. So I really encouraged in that terms to make sure that SAE contributes to the work that is being done in ISO. So in terms of next steps, There was 2 calls in 2000, or in the work program 2013. I'm going to talk only about the 2 left ones, and actually I will skip the first one because there is a presentation from City Mobile 2 later this morning of Adriano Alessandrini. This was the only project that was credited for this call for a proposal, and it's very important in terms of automated urban transportation for so not looking at individual transportation, but rather at the full system. I'll spend some time on the call 10 of DG Connect, which ended, the deadline was in January, so we are still in the phase of starting these projects, and I was given the okay to give actually in the preview which these projects are, and so that's really the only really new thing in this presentation. The call was on supervised automated driving, and also a call for support action that you mentioned. So there is a new support action on international vehicle and road automation network, which I have the chance to coordinate. Its objectives are to create a European network of experts, contribute to the EU-US-Japan International Task Force, which we are doing this week, and then identify some deployment needs and promote the research in vehicle and road automation. So talking about the third one, identify deployment and needs, there will be international new discussion groups on deployment path scenarios, regulatory issues, and standards and certifications, which eventually will feed the mobility forum working group, and then also the trilateral activities. Under the integrated projects, we have integrated projects mean quite big projects. Here we have a lot of activities driven by the car manufacturers. The name is adaptive. It's about automated driving application and technologies. It is a follow-up of Havit and Interactive taken together. There's about 10 car manufacturers involved in this project, and for a budget of 25 million euros over the next 4 years, starting 1st of January 2014. So that's, I would say, the main activity of at the end of this framework program 7. It will focus on demonstrations, close distance, urban and highway scenarios. Also very important for the ones that know about response 3, the code of practice. There is response 4 activities: human vehicle integration and evaluation methodology and tools. Other 3 projects that are under negotiations at the moment should start before the 1st of January are iGame, Interoperable Grand Cooperative Driving Challenge, focusing on a challenge and focusing on interoperability for cooperative automated driving. Companion, focusing on platoons and the formation of these platoons under cooperative with cooperative systems. And AutoNet, focusing on algorithm of interaction and control for cooperative vehicles. I'll just two slides more. So beyond these projects that are being built up, there is, of course, the policy program and the new framework program from the Commission, focusing on different challenges: full connectivity, electromobility, automation, and transformative services. And this new framework program for research is called Horizon 2020, starting 2014-2020. First calls will take place beginning of 2014, a full envelope of 80 billion euros. And for the transport domain, these Horizon 2020 will deliver, or will be the instrument to deliver the goals of the white paper that I talked about earlier. The focus for the transport, the mobility and transport, is smart, green, and integrated transport. So not only roads, but a whole transport system, resource efficient, environmentally friendly, safe, and seamless for all citizens, and focusing on such things as social and economic research and international cooperation also. So if you want to know more of that, you can read on the Strategic Transport Technology Plan, STTP, and Air Track Strategy Research Agenda. Most of what is written in the Future Horizon 2020 work program is emerging from these two papers. And that concludes my talk.